Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa natubu ilayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa sayyiati a'malina. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli wa salam wa barik wal abdika ala abdika wa rasulika Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Seek refuge in Allah from the rejected enemy Shaitan. With Allah's name, the most merciful benefactor, the most merciful redeemer. All praise is due to Allah alone. We praise Him, we seek help from Him, we repent to Him, we ask forgiveness from Him, and we seek refuge in Him from our weaknesses, our own shortcomings. I bear witness there is no deity except Allah. He has no partners. He has no associates, no co-workers. And I bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to whom the Quran was revealed 1400 years ago, is his servant, his messenger to mankind. O Allah, exalt Muhammad, your peace and your blessings be upon Muhammad and his descendants and close workers, companions. Because as we all know that companions are needed in almost any work, but certainly in the work that Allah has for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah says in Quran, in Surah 2, Rum, about the about where he tells us how we should turn our face, turn our presence, turn our consciousness. When you see in the Quran, when it talks about turning our face to the right way, your face is your conscious mind. Your face is your conscious mind. Not what you're looking at, not what you see in the mirror. That face is just flesh, bones, blood, made of a tissue. That face makes no decision in the face of your conscious mind. Your conscious mind makes the decision of whatever this physical body is doing. The physical body is not held responsible for your conscious mind. So when we turn ourselves to the right way, to Hanifa, Hanif meaning it means upright. It means correct. It means that your conscious mind has turned to a way that is straight, that is right. And Allah in this ayah, he talks about a term called fitra. Fitra. He uses it relevant to the pattern on which man is created and on which the creation is created. Allah tells us that he creates everything on the same pattern. So when he's speaking to us, and when he spoke to his messenger, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he wasn't giving him information or giving us information that was foreign to our nature. Now, I know it may be a little difficult at times to really grasp what Allah is saying in terms of our nature. He is saying to us, when you look at the tree out there, when you look at the ground, when you look at the birds, everything has a nature. Everything has a particular nature on which it was created. And he says that he provided for all of these things. So none of them ever think anything other than praising Allah. They praise Allah because they know their provisions come from Allah. So the birds praise Allah. The ants, everything praises Allah because they understand that simple idea that Allah gives us. He talks to our intellect because it's in our intellect that we form our conscious mind. He doesn't just talk to us as if we are a tree or even as we are an animal, like a bird or a cat or something. He talks to us as if we have a rational mind. We have a way of deducing. We have a way of deducting. We have a way of rationalizing things in our life. So he gives us these things. He says, everything, including you, man, are based on fitra. You've heard the term Din al-Fitra? That's what that's talking about, the way of life. The way of life that we are committed to, that we can commit ourselves to. You can commit yourself wholeheartedly to the way of life that Allah suggests, because that is on the nature on which we are created. And that nature is not foreign to the creation. We are compatible with the creation. We are compatible with the birds. We are compatible with the animals. We are compatible with the stars. We are compatible with all of the universes that evolved. We are compatible because it's only one creator. And that one creator created everything on the same pattern so they would not be foreign to one another. So you would not have to all of a sudden not know what's going on. And he blessed us, man, with this crown in the creation, the rational mind. The rational mind is the crown of creation. The rational mind is the part of creation that moves things around. There's nothing second to the rational mind at all. The only thing that the rational mind is second to is the Creator. The Creator himself. The rational mind is only second to the Creator himself. Because the rational mind was created by Allah to be only second to Allah. That's why he tells the creation, make sujud. Make sujud to my man. Make sujud to my rational mind. Make sujud to this conscious mind. Make sujud. And in making sujud, those of you, malaikatu, those of you who are mission, who are instructed, who have been one of the executors of Allah's command, those of you, and he made no distinction in terms of this one and not that one. He said all make sujjah to his man. Now most of us, we know what sujjah means. We know the sujjah means to surrender. Sujjah means to give up your best part. When you make sujjah, your head goes on the masala, because your head is where your rational mind is. Your head is where the logic is brought together. And this is what guides you, the logic that comes from inside this head. And that logic, that rational mind, we put on the masala, surrendering it to Allah, the Creator, the one who has created us. This is what Ibrahim said. He said he turned his whole self, he turned his conscious mind to the one who created him the first time, who created him at first. He couldn't go along with the worshiping of the idols, of things they created with their own hands. His father and ancestors had gotten to the point where they started worshiping things with their own hands that they created themselves and called them a deity, called them the Creator. Ibrahim couldn't do that any longer. Ibrahim turned his conscious mind and asked guidance. He asked guidance from the Creator of the universe. He didn't ask the universe to guide him. He asked the Creator of the universe. He asked the Creator of himself, the one who created me the first time, created all this first. That's who he asked for guidance. And it was Allah who gave him guidance. This is why Ibrahim says he turned his whole self, his conscious mind, his thinking. And the malaika, the angels, are commanded by Allah to obey that. Obey that meaning that Allah has instructed all of the angels and all of those who carry out Allah's command. See, Allah is like the Malik, makes the rule, the law. You consider him like the President of the United States. And then how is the President of the United States, all the rules carried out? They're carried out by the executive body. The executive body in the creation of Malaika. They are the executive body. They are the executive body of Allah's command. They carry out Allah's command. Everything that moves in this creation is carried out by them. Birds fly because of them, because of that power that Allah put into the creation. He calls that power the Malaika. Even how we receive our messages from Allah through inspiration, that even comes through that same way. Now, many times, sometimes we think of that system of executing Allah's command, we think of it as creatures. We think of it as creatures. And we don't think of it as creation. When I say creatures and not creation, our mind, when we try to think of creation, it goes into a physical idea of creation. It goes into a material idea of creation. And although we have within us, we have those parts of creation that are not physical, that are not the material. But yet sometimes when we think about Allah's creation, we don't go beyond that concept of the physical, because that's the way we make our mind up. We use pictures. We put pictures in our mind to help us understand the reality of all of this creation. So, when we think Malaikat. We're thinking something physical. Picture it like this. When you first met your spouse and she swept you off your feet, that feeling in you was not physical. It wasn't a physical feeling. It wasn't some material. But it moved your whole body. It moved your heart. It moved your mind. It moved your blood. It moved everything in you, and yet it was not physical. And even sometimes when you think about it and how you have this strong feeling, it even aches. It aches. And if something goes wrong with that situation, that you have to break up, or she leaves, or in the case of a sister, he leaves, you feel another ache, and that ache is a hurting ache. But it wasn't caused by physical. Your whole body aches. Your whole mind aches. And what is happening is not physical. That's part of Allah's process of how he executes the creation with this execution body that he tells us by the name of Malaika. Everything in the creation operates under that executing body. It moves the creation. And it moves us. So Allah tells us in the Quran, he reveals his word to man through inspiration. That's how that inspiration happened. Inspiration is not physical. It's part of Allah's executing body. How he moves us. And that whole executing body, Allah said to it, he said, make sujud to my man. Make sujud to my creation. Make sujud to Adam. Make sujud. That means that that whole executing body has to obey you. That whole executing body has to obey you. When you approach it, it has to listen to you. It's commanded by the creator of the universe to obey you. And you're not commanded by the creator to obey it. You're commanded by the creator to obey only Allah. And serve only Allah. And worship only Allah. And turn your face only to Allah. Turn your conscious mind only to Allah. But everything else in the creation has to obey you. So when you go to the wood, the piece of wood, when you burst it open, the fire that's in there must come out at your command. When you go to the elements of the earth and put them together and heat it with the fire that you just commanded out of that wood, when you heat those elements, then they change form. Then you take those forms and shape them to what you want them to be. Into tools. Into things of building. Because they're commanded by Allah to obey you. If it was not for Allah's command, you couldn't get nothing out of them. If it was not for Allah's command, we never would have discovered metals, iron, steel. We never would have discovered the process of putting coke and iron together and making steel. We never would have came to that because we wouldn't have known how to do it. There's not enough in our conscious mind to determine that. They had to yield up. They had to yield up by Allah's command. If Allah had not commanded, we could have used all our intellect. We could have used it till we went all across the universe. Never would have gotten anything out of not one thing in this creation. But because Allah said to the whole of the creation, the whole executing body that makes everything move and everything comes together, he said to make sujud. Make sujud to my man. So everything has to obey you. And you have to obey Allah. You have to obey Allah. See, that that crown of creation, there's a very important position, but you are commanded by Allah to obey him. You don't have to be influenced by anything. Although man is very easily influenced, very easily influenced. And Allah created us to be influenced because we were created to change this creation. We were created to come up with ideas and concepts. And if we wasn't influenced by the birds flying in the sky, we never would have come up with the idea of trying to fly. That influence works on us. But Allah says this: be influenced to the good, not to the bad. Influence to the right, not to the left. And one part of the creation of that whole body, that executing body, which is another part that you don't see real early in the Quran, but you do see it come out when Allah tells them all to obey. And part of that executing body that rejects service to man is Iblis, the jinn. Is not all jinns. The jinn obeys. Allah created the jinn to obey man, created the conscious mind to obey Allah. Both of them are created to obey Allah. But the arrogant jinn is the jinn that believes that he is better than what Allah talks about in the Quran to rule. The moral consciousness, morally. Man is supposed to rule morally. The jinn believes that's not the best rule. He believes that his rule, his way would be best. Why? Why does he believe that? What is the jinn? What is the arrogant jinn? What makes him think that? What gives him the power to even put this in his consciousness? Because Allah gave him great power. Allah gave the Malaikatu great power. And the jinn is part of that executing body. You know, when you look at it simply, once we're able to begin to comprehend what Allah is talking about in terms of this system of execution, then we can begin to see that the jinn is part of another executing body. And it's the one that I spoke of a little earlier, when you met your spouse for the first time, and she just knocked you off your feet, made you feel so good. That feeling is the jinn. That feeling is the jinn. Jinn are feelings. Jinn execute feelings in this creation. That's why Allah created the jinn, so that you can have feelings, so that you can feel what is nice, so you can taste what is good, so those feelings to help you distinguish between hot and cold, to help you distinguish between sweet and sour. Those feelings is what gives you pleasure in this creation. Those feelings what cause you to look and say, oh my goodness, this is great. And then you have no reason not to turn then to Allah and say, Alhamdulillah, that you created this, that I can gain pleasure from it. And that pleasure is the jinn nature. You see, when we put it together, the nature that Allah has created the human being in, and look at this creation, then we get a real strong comprehension of why we should serve the Creator, one that we can't even see. We see the impact. We see the results. We see different things, but we cannot visualize with our eye. And the human being is a visual creature, a creature who likes to see things physically. This is why Allah says in the Quran that some of the old people say, produce Allah in the physical, produce Allah in the flesh, because they couldn't see. So Allah says in the Quran, they are those who walk in the light. But when the dark comes, they stop. That means they have no vision. See, those of faith keep walking. Why? Because they have faith in Allah, and they know Allah will not create the darkness to harm them. They know that Allah will create the darkness for good for them, because Allah has created everything for the good and has given the human being the ability to appreciate it. So, when we look at how Allah has blessed us with the jinn nature, then we can begin to appreciate it. But the problem that comes about in the jinn nature. Because the jinn is command of feelings, all feelings. The feelings that erupt into arrogance, the feelings that erupt into hatred, the feelings that erupt into racism, the feelings that erupt into I'm better than you, the feelings that erupt into I can do that and you can't. And also in the feelings that erupt into this is possible and I believe it's possible and I'm going to do it even though I can't see it, I'm going to do it at any rate. That's the jinn. Allah gave us that feeling so we wouldn't be afraid of the darkness. He gave us that feeling so we wouldn't be afraid and believe that the world was flat and we can't go around it. He gave us that feeling so we would challenge this creation, go into it with our thinking, with our rational mind, and take it all apart and put it back together again. It requires the jinn nature for us to do that. It requires that I can believe it even though I can't see it. I believe it's possible. That's the power of the jinn nature. But Allah says this and shows it to us plainly. You are not to follow the jinn nature. You are to use the jinn nature. The jinn nature has to obey you. The moment you start following the jinn nature, you're on the wrong course. He didn't create the jinn nature to lead you. He created the jinn nature to follow you. That you use the jinn nature for yourself. But when you let the jinn nature be your leader, then the jinn nature starts saying, and he was saying it to Allah, talking to Allah, because Allah asked him, he said, when I said to you, and he was talking to the jinn now, you have to understand this clearly when you're reading Quran. At the time that command was made, when Allah says make sujood to man, he didn't say make sujood to man, malaika, and jinns. He didn't say that. He only used the term malaika, saying that all of them, everything in creation at that time was following Allah's command, and that made them part of that execution system. The jinn didn't get out of hand until Allah brought forth man. Then the jinn start to change. Then you realize that all the malaika are not 100%. Some are created from fire. Some are created from smokeless fire. Some are from light and some are from smokeless fire. The jinn comes from the smokeless fire. Meaning that emotion can strike without warning. Your emotion can get to the point, if something happens, you get so angry with it, and without any hesitation, you respond to it. Smoke in Quran, when Allah uses it there, it's talking about humanity. It's talking about our humanity. It's talking about how we are as human beings. Always exercise humanity before you exercise your wrath or your anger. Think about it first. Think about, is this good or is this not good? Is this in self-defense or not self-defense? But if you follow your jinn nature, that won't even come up, because you just respond. And the jinn nature is part of what Allah calls prepared for the hellfire. And man that follows the jinn nature is there too. And the jinn nature then, as we see in the Quran, becomes, he is not what we call evolution. He doesn't go to the highest part. The jinn nature degenerates. It goes to the lowest part of feelings that we could have. The lowest feeling you can get that's more destructive than any other feeling you can get is arrogance. It's arrogance. Once you get arrogance comes from the word which means, you hear people say takbir. It comes from that word, kabir. It means exalted. Arrogance means that you think you're exalted. You don't have to obey. See, when you do that, you're saying you're exalted above what Allah has said, what Allah has commanded. So that's the worst position that the human being can get in. And Allah shows us in the stories about Musa and Pharaoh. He shows that jinn nature had evolved, had degenerated into that arrogance. That's what the Pharaoh represents. And the drowning of the Pharaoh represents that drowning of the arrogance that's in human life. It means that we must get rid of arrogance. We can't live in a society that arrogance is ruling. We have a little problem in this modern day society with arrogance. But eventually, once we practice al-Islam and once we follow the Quran, we'll begin to work that arrogance out. So with that, we want to take a short pause. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. We want to conclude our talk today talking about why all of this is necessary. Why is it necessary? When you really look at the power that Allah has given man, when you really look at the destruction man can cause if he allows his jinn nature to degenerate into Iblis and then into Shaitan, that part is designed to just destruct man. See, Shaitan has no war with Allah. Shaitan understands that. Allah makes it clear in the Quran. Shaitan call Allah Lord, Rab, because he's not in that category. But he is an enemy to us, to ourselves. We are enemy to ourselves if we allow that spirit to rise in us. And when it arises in the society, then those in the society become those who work against human progress. They work against human progress. We as Muslims, which means we are the first to submit. We are the first to give. We are the first to turn. We are the first to open ourselves to Allah's command. We are the first to open ourselves to the idea that there is but one God. We are the first to open ourselves to the concept that there is no deity other than Allah, and He is the creator of all that is. We are the first. That's what Muslim means. Muslim means one who is the first to open himself to the concept and idea that there is no creator except Allah. And we are doing it consciously with our conscious mind, because it's that conscious mind is what we turn to Allah. That's what we turn to Allah, to accept Allah consciously. If we are just talking about Muslim in terms of a word or a label or things that come off our tongues or the way we make sujjah, then we missed it. We missed the mark. You and I, we are conscious Muslim. We're consciously submitting. We're consciously obeying. We're consciously accepting the idea and the concept that there is no creator except Allah, and we accept and worship that one who created us first. That's what we're doing as Muslims. And one of the key things, when Allah says we are created on fitrah, and he talk about the deen, then he says, Deen al-Islam, then he is saying to us, as those who have committed themselves consciously, our way of life, we are striving in life to bring about peace in humanity, to bring about peace, to be a correlation with the rest of the universe, to be a correlation with the rest of the existence. The human being must live in peace. This is what Allah is saying. He's not saying the kind of peace that if I'm in charge. And I say to you, if you move, I will shoot you. So you don't move. It's not that kind of peace. That's not the kind of peace Allah is talking about. He's not even talking about the kind of peace that a parent has over a child who has now reached maturity and they still, no, you can't do that. Not even that kind of peace. Even the young babies, when babies are growing up, 3, 4 years old, they begin to rebel. They begin to say, oh, no. And you have to use your skill. You have to use your human power and mercy and compassion to help guide that young baby. Because the young baby don't know the world, but it knows how to utilize its feelings. And it rejects things according to whether it want to do or not do. So you as an adult have to exercise this power that Allah has given you to obey him and guide that young child. Many times we see that concept in terms of guidance when we look in the Quran and it talks about how a man should treat his wife, and many people see that as the last result is to spank them or hit them or those kinds of nature. Although the word does mean that, but it also means guidance. See, the word means guidance more than anything, because any action you take should be guidance. Any action you take, if you say to a person, oh, don't go across the street because the cars are coming, that's guidance. If you grab the person and hold them back from that, going across the street, across the car, that's guidance. You see, the ultimate concept is guidance. See, and once we understand that, then you won't have brothers running around knocking their wives out, thinking, hey, she didn't obey me. No, brothers, that's not the way it works. If she didn't obey you, do something to swing her over to your side. Show all that intellect that Allah has given you, all that wisdom is up there, that you know some of the things she like and don't like, and you might be able to bring a flower or something, and win her over to your side. See, because once you win her over, now you got someone on your side. If you hit her upside your head, she's just waiting for the opportunity to hit you on your head, and believe it. That's what they're waiting for. They may never do it, but they hope. And then when something happens, they ain't in your corner. They say, oh, I tried to get there, but I couldn't make it. No, guidance. Guidance. What does Allah says? Huda. Huda. Guidance. This is what we exercise with each other. This is what we exercise with our children. This is what we exercise with our spouses. Guidance. And once we get that pattern down, then we can start exercising guidance in the society. Then the society can see the beauty of Islam, can see the beauty of being Muslim, one who's consciously obeying Allah, consciously following peace as a way of life. But we have to apply that. And I know it's a struggle. I go through the same struggle as you do, so when we talking with each other, we talking the reality. We're talking the reality. It's a struggle. And the softer, the kinder heart, the more compassion you have, the easier it is to guide someone else. The more compassion. It's easier to serve Allah when you have compassion. So we thank Almighty Allah for blessing us to be here this day on Yom Jumuah. And we ask Allah to give us the best of this world and of the hereafter and protect us from the fire. I mean, you comment to Salah.
Allahu Akbar, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, qaqam to salah, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah.